Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Doug Byers. I'm the human being extraordinaire, and this is Dougz Den. It's Doug Byers, a human being extraordinaire, with another segment of Dougz Den. Now look, I'm spitting out these segments one at a time because it's taking forever to freaking edit them. And if I wanted to compile a whole 22 minutes, it'd probably take me a couple of weeks for each posting. Probably going to avoid that. So here's the deal. I got another animated short for you, another fractured history lesson. Hey, if you thought the last one was racist, wait till you get in love with this one. Yes, I've been called a racist because of my last posting with the fractured history lesson, and now I'm going to offer you this one, which I thought was funny. I see in my brain this shit's funny. I don't know. Maybe it's only funny to me. I don't know.
Welcome to another segment of Fractured History Lessons. My name is Joker, homie, and I'll be your guest host. This segment will examine how the U.S. government used the Civil Rights Act and welfare expansion programs in the 1960s to get out of paying African Americans reparations for the slave trade, homie. You see, in 1964, Lyndon Johnson declared his war on poverty and passed the Civil Rights Act. Now, these acts were said to have been intended to create opportunity for the lower classes, But what it actually did was handicap the lower classes by encouraging underachievement. Now, teenage blacks and Latinos could get pregnant, apply for aid, and get a place to stay with their dudes. The government was basically saying to them, fuck school, fuck a job, just go have some babies and we'll give you just enough money to live on. When Nixon took office in 1968, he was not with that helping the poor shit. He decided to redirect federal funds for social programs into more regulated projects like Conservation Corps and shit like that, He figured he would give poor people an opportunity to not be poor by learning a trade or something. Now, he really couldn't oppose the liberal agenda, homie, wholeheartedly because the prevailing political sentiment at the time, it was liberal. Now, when Gerald Ford takes over in 1973, he just continued Nixon's policies for lack of anything else to do. So nothing really changed, right? But along comes Jimmy Carter, a liberal president, in 1976. Now, he expanded welfare and other social programs, and it was back on again, like when LBJ was in office. Well, by the time Reagan took office in 1980, social programs were overfunded and counterproductive. But Reagan, being the cowboy he was, he came up with a scheme, homie, that made it look like he was looking out for the underprivileged and still keep government money available for expanding military projects. This is what Reagan said, Holmes. Keep giving the niggers and the spics welfare, but what we do is we funnel cocaine into their neighborhoods, get them hooked, and all that welfare money comes back to us plus some, homie, serio. He had a cold crew working with him too, homie. William Casey of the CIA was organizing smuggling cocaine into the U.S. John Poindexter managed distribution once it got to the U.S. And Oliver North, he took the money earned to fund secret wars in Central America. Remember the Nicaraguan freedom fighters known as the Contras? Well, if you remember them, homie, you remember how that shit turned out, huh? Well, in 1988, when the first George Bush took office, he continued Reagan's agenda and took it to a whole new level even, This scheme was funding the Gulf War and the war on drugs. Remember Noriega? He was captured on Bush's watch. And that was all about the feria, Holmes. Noriega was holding out on the feria, skimming off of every shipment and coming up. And Bush was not going for that shit. He told Noriega, "Hey, homie, you kick in my feria or I'm gonna have to come and get your ass." Anyway, when Clinton takes office in 1992, welfare and drug trafficking were out of control. So a conscientious Bill Clinton, he started government initiatives to reform welfare and expand law enforcement in the country. One thing you got to know, homie, conservative white people love the phrases welfare reform and more hoorahs. This is how Clinton gets reelected. He appeases the conservative class. When Bush #2 takes office, he took reform to a whole nother level, homie, and put an end to easy welfare money. Neoconservatives were finally tired of funding generations of crack babies, huh? Well, that concludes this edition of Fractured History Lessons, homie. Join us next time when we examine how the Greeks stole 8,000 years of knowledge from the ancient Egyptians and claimed it as their own.